Greg, if you want to lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Norwich Board of Education meeting. Today is Tuesday, February 20th. This is a special meeting, being that our regular meeting was canceled last week due to the snowstorm. Unfortunately, due to the snowstorm, that means everybody's got an extra day of school in June. More than one, yeah. All right. First off is, let's go through approval of the minutes of January 9th. Can I get a motion to approve?
Kevin Saitani, motion to accept the minutes of January 9th, 2004.
Okay, could I have a second?
John Iadino, second.
All right. Any discussion, changes, revisions? Hearing none, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Okay, and then we have approval of the minutes of the special meeting of January 25th. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
Kevin Saitani, motion to accept the minutes, the special minutes for the Board of Education on January 25th.
Okay, and could I have a second?
Rick Berry, I'll second that.
All right, any discussion, revision, not? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Motion, minutes are approved. Okay, first off, we'll turn it over to the acting superintendent for introductions.
We're going to start with our, let's start with the MLK readers. There's 4 readers. I was fortunate enough with some board members to attend the MLK luncheon at NFA. And there were 4 students from, 2 students from Kelly Middle School, 2 from Global that read at the luncheon, and they're going to present here. So we're pretty excited about that. So can we start with Justin? Justin Brown, can you come up, sit down over here and introduce yourself and then read your essay.
Hello, my name is Justin Brown. I'm an 8th grader who goes to Teachers Memorial Global Studies Magnet Middle School. And I want to thank everyone for the opportunity I was given to speak here today and to give my appreciation to everyone who has helped me get to this position. After going to that dinner, it enlightened me on a lot of things I didn't think about before, like college, my future career, and about how many lives were possibly changed by this very prestigious scholarship. That award changed many things for many students, and I've seen the way this scholarship has changed lives for students around our area. Martin Luther King Jr. was a man who changed lives for Black people young and old. Martin Luther King had a dream, and I felt that dream was coming to life that night when I saw many kids like me excelling and propelling their way to higher places. This dinner is an example of many people coming together and celebrating their differences, and I feel like it might not have been possible to do these things without the influence and impact that Martin Luther King brought to our country.
Come back, please. Don't run away.
Thanks so much for doing that.
And after you give your presentation, just wait around for the certificate from the superintendent. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so here's my speech. During the Martin Luther King Jr. Scholar event, I experienced a hearing of both inspirational and grateful words from all the chosen scholars. I was treated with respect and felt to be in a welcoming environment. This with plenty of important and educated people, and the cheesecake was delicious. The most powerful part of the experience was seeing the scholars talk about their parents and how they inspired them. It is important to me to make my parents and grandmother proud because they have given me so much. The power of peace is essential to our world because it gives people the ability to express themselves and feel safe. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We must come to see that at the end we seek is a society of peace with itself, a society that we can live that can live with its conscience." On March 25th, 1965, in Montgomery, Alabama. To me, this is important because too many turn their eyes at people doing wrong in this world, and we do nothing about it. Our conscience tells us this is wrong, but our society has become used to violence, hate, and disrespect. This has caused people not to reach their full potential and create the society Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed of. To me, the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King means determination. I say determination not only because Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was called a communist or put in jail while continuing to fight for his people, but because I can look around in my classroom knowing that he determined his life to make all Black children in American classrooms look like mine. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Kelly Middle School. Tina and Cam, who wants to go first?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lena Dufour, and I would like to thank everybody for this opportunity. In school, they mostly teach us about how Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King fought for equality, but never really got into what he believed and fought for. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a remarkable figure in history, not only for his important role in the fight against racial discrimination, but also for his commitment to choosing love over hate. He believed the power of love to bring about lasting change, and his message of nonviolence resonated with me and millions of people around the world. MLK understood that hate only perpetuates a cycle of violence and injustice. He saw the destructive nature of hatred and its ability to divide communities. Instead of matching the hate he faced, he actively chose love as a driving force behind his activism. This message of love was not an easy path, especially in the face of unspeakable acts of violence and oppression. But MLK believed that love had the power to transform hearts and minds. MLK's commitment to nonviolence resistance was deeply rooted in his belief in the transformative power of love. In his teachings and actions, he showed that love is not passive or weak. Instead, love is an active force, strong enough to conquer hate and indifference. MLK urged his followers to confront their oppressors with love and saw this as the most effective means to bring about lasting change. Martin Luther King Jr.'s unwavering commitment to love over hate was tested time and time again. He faced countless threats, imprisonment, and violence, yet he never wavered his resolve to choose love. In his letter from Birmingham jail, he wrote about the importance of confronting hatred with love, stating, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." MLK recognized that love was not an easy path, but he remained steadfast in his conviction that it was the only path worth taking. MLK's choice to embrace love over hate continues to resonate today. His commitment to peace and equality serves as a timeless reminder of the power of love to bring about meaningful change. His teachings remind us that even in the face of adversity, choosing love allows us to rise above all the hate that seeks to divide us. Martin Luther King Jr.'s choice to choose love over hate was a defining characteristic of his leadership. By following in his footsteps, we can cultivate a world where love triumphs over hate and the unity prevails over division. Thank you.
And another standing start coming up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Kayon, and I go to Kelly Middle School, and I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. MLK. M stands for might, L, leadership, K, kindness. 3 things that Dr. Martin Luther King used to fight against civil rights, and without these 3 things, we wouldn't be gathered here today. Dr. Martin Luther King has taught me to be respectful to my family, teachers, and friends, and to not judge people by the color of their skin, but of the contents of their heart. But most importantly, he has taught me to never give up, no matter how hard things may get. Because of Dr. King, I can be in the same room with people of different races and ethnicities. Because of Dr. King, I am not afraid to voice my opinions on what's right. Because of Dr. King, I am a leader. Because of Dr. King, I will make an impact to my generation. Because of Dr. King, I can be me. Thank you.
I must say, it was my pleasure to hear these speeches twice, because I was also at the MLK luncheon. Second time around, just as good. Okay. Time for public comment. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment? No. No. Does anyone wish to address the board during public comment? Does anyone wish to address the board during public comment? Does anyone wish to address the board during public comment? Hearing no one, I now declare public comment closed. Okay, sure.
All right, I also want everyone to notice too, Principal Lumpers made sure that we got some really nice artwork. So this is all new here in the bulletin board, so I'd like to thank Randy for doing that. So we'll be alternating through different artwork throughout the year. So I appreciate that work and effort. Okay, we're gonna start doing some awards. I know John Iovino came up with a good idea of having these delivered here instead of going to the schools, so thank you for that. So we're gonna start with Penelope Green, who is a veteran student and a former Stanton student. So welcome Penelope and her mom. So Penelope Green, veteran school, 5th grade student. You Inspire Me Award nomination letter submitted by Principal Federici. Penelope Green is a student that all veteran students should aim to emulate. Penelope is not only a model student, but a model citizen. Every day she demonstrates her willingness to help others, to make peace among her classmates, and her desire to make the world better. She works hard at her studies and is an excellent reader and a mathematician who never gives up on a problem. Whenever appears in need, Penelope can be seen coming to the rescue. Whether it is a friend that is having a conflict with a peer, or one that is having a moment of sadness or anger, Penelope comforts and ensures a sense of happiness and normalcy. Penelope upholds all the 4 veterans' core values of positivity, kindness, accountability, and perseverance. She also holds those around her accountable in demonstrating the core values, making our school an even better place to work and learn. Even though 5th grade can be tough at times, Penelope carries herself with a smile and has a great sense of humor. Penelope has a good heart that will take her to places beyond her wildest dreams. Veterans Elementary School is lucky to call her our own. Congratulations, Penelope. You want to come up with the next one is You Inspire Me Student Award recipient. This is from January, and it's Jose Ramos Soto, and I believe he is here now. Dr. Northcutt, you in here? Come on up. This was submitted by Erin Paradis, a teacher at Global and SRO McKinney. Jose is a lovable teddy bear. He comes to school every day ready to make you smile. He loves to talk to everybody he meets and always has kind things to say. He continues to amaze me with his kindness and helpfulness. Every morning he helps a peer get off the bus and get ready for a successful day. He then walks into the building by his side and helps him get to his group of teachers who are waiting. It is a blessing to see each morning. Jose is a positive role model, supportive classmate, and always goes above and beyond without being asked. He will stay after class to help teachers straighten up their classrooms. He will even pick up outside in the playground area after his break. I often catch Jose in the hallways, helping to push another peer in a wheelchair and conversing with him even though he is nonverbal. He is just so kind to everyone he meets. Jose has a lot of his own challenges each day, but he is always putting others first. He makes everyone around him smile. He is helping to bridge the social gaps between general education peers and those in special programs. I always feel like you can run into him in the halls or at bus duty. Congratulations.
I am.
All right. Now, the Key is Me Teacher Award recipient, this is from January, and I hope Carmen Pagan, is she here? Where is she? Is Carmen here?
No.
She's not here today?
No.
All right, we read this in January, so maybe we can get her for the next one. I'll hold on to that. I just saw her at Moriarty the other day. All right. Now we have the Key is Me Teacher Award for Amanda Camp. Amanda can come on up and sit over here, maybe? Come on. Teacher at Strive Mahan School. Amanda Camp is a Strive teacher at Thomas Mahan Elementary School. As the Strive teacher, Amanda works with students from kindergarten through third grade. In the beginning of the school year, Amanda took on a team teaching project with another fourth grade teacher at Mahan. The resource she uses is called New to You, which focuses on current events from around the world. From the very beginning, Amanda has created a warm and welcoming environment where all students feel included. She has transformed these two classes into one. She has modeled how to work cooperatively and support one another so they are successful as a team. Amanda has made this transition of her students into the mainstream seamless. She has implemented this team collaboration that fosters caring, compassion, and acceptance among classmates. This relationship among students now shows up beyond the classroom. It becomes evident when peers are out at recess or in an assembly and students seek each other out to say hello or lend each other support. This is a part of the day that all students and staff involved look forward to. How lucky the students, family, and community are to have such a passionate and outstanding educator. And I can say I love to go into all the schools to visit the classrooms. Amanda knows that's one of my favorite classrooms to go visit. So it's just a great place to be. Norwich Public Schools is lucky to have you. Congratulations. And is Cindy Beauregard here? Cindy, where are you? Come on up, Cindy. Everyone knows Cindy, so come on up, Cindy. I Make a Difference Support Staff Award recipient goes to Cindy Beauregard. Cindy Beauregard is an invaluable asset to Norwich Public Schools. As an active community member, she sits on nonprofit committees across the city to ensure that she is always up to date on resources and community events available to Norwich Public Schools and its school community. Cindy has worked tirelessly for many decades to ensure that all families have access to a supporting staff member who could help them navigate challenging situations with kindness and empathy. Cindy leads youth leadership groups where she teaches students about the importance of giving back to their community. She runs multiple play groups across the city where she teaches parents best practices for learning at home. Cindy supports families with feeding assistance, childcare services, navigating birth to 3 programs, and so much more. Cindy has built relationships with families and students that will last a lifetime because she truly is devoted to the Norwich community. Okay. That concludes all everyone for coming for that. Appreciate that. You can continue on mine, Mark.
Take a break for 5, let people go.
You want, we can, yeah, sure.
Unless I want to stay for the 2-hour meeting, it's okay.
If you guys want to leave, it's up to you. I mean, or stay, it's up to you. I know I wanted to get those in the beginning so you didn't have to stay. You want to take 5 minutes? Okay.
Congratulations. I'm sorry. Even my kid there. And I need to hopefully this little guy, you got a is it your brother? Yes, it's, so hopefully he's a wonderful role model. What's going on? Follow me outside. Are you one of those? Yeah.
Before we get started.
Thanks for coming. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's my husband. Thank you.
I know. I've seen this.
Oh, that's really sweet.
That's a good point.
Susan has one more thing to.
Yep, so, I'd like to welcome, we were supposed to do this at last month's, but it got canceled to a Zoom meeting. So Kim Byzensky, if she wants to come up, I know her family's here. Our new principal.
Sit here,
My old school.
like attention.
So Norwich is, I'll let you know that this is Kim's 11th year in education, and she has taught a variety of grade levels between kindergarten and grade 5. She's been an instructional coach, and most recently served as the assistant principal at Teachers Memorial Global Studies. She is passionate about reading, including evidence-based instruction and assessment, reading research, and the brain. And she teaches reading research actually at Faith Haft University. So welcome, Kim.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much.
Mom, Dad are here.
Yes, I'm a myself.
Thank
Thank
you for coming.
Yeah, I started at Waquanic 61 years ago. So if there's any corners of the building you haven't seen yet, I grew up there, so let me know.
Okay, a couple more things that I want to touch on for my report. Give you an update on early learning. I know that that's been a topic that we've been working on and talking about. So just a few highlights: operations and the infrastructure. They're working on parent handbooks right now. Many financial documents are being created to uphold the financial policies in our handbook. For example, we will have a form to request support during a financial hardship. We will return to notifying parents about absences and possible dismissal from the program. And we will have parents sign a form to acknowledge that they have been offered a slot and declined. And we're doing this because this will help our slots with regularly attending children while providing the financial support to families who need it. We were approved for and opened the 5th pre-K classroom at Huntington on February 6th. I don't know if Zach Martha knew what he was getting into with all these preschools. There he is, right? We seek, this actually created 34 more part-day slots for children in Norwich. We seek to move our Smart Start pre-K room from Veterans to Mahan due to space, and I'll explain more why we did that in a minute. If approved by the Office of Early Childhood, we will aim to make this move over the spring break. This will allow us to meet the most current need of parents seeking a school day programming for their children. In light of the recent change to the kindergarten start age, pre-K will follow suit. Children must be 3 by September 1st of each school year to begin pre-K. Children with disabilities who qualify for an IEP will still have the opportunity to start pre-K by their 3rd birthday, no matter what time of the year that occurs. This is great news, since December 1st, we have enrolled 60 new children in our pre-K program. We have 224 students currently enrolled in pre-K. Something that we would like to highlight, teaching and learning. We had approximately 30 parents attend a pre-K meet and greet on February 1st. Several pre-K staff attended, as well as our district and community partners with Head Start, Family Resource Center, and Parents with a Purpose. Families learned about our pre-K curriculum, purposeful play, and supporting executive functioning skills of young children. They had an opportunity to take free books home, sign up for Care for Kids, and register for Head Start Family Services. Our next event will include several play stations set up in the gym so families can experience the philosophy behind the term purposeful play. And so I want to let everyone know that we have a STARS program right now at Stanton Elementary School, and that's for students with challenging behavior. As you know, we try to keep students, we'd rather not outplace them and keep them with us. That's our ultimate goal. We have seen a need for another STARS program, and we are going to open one up at Veterans School. Right now, we have a paraprofessional and an RPT that we hired that will begin in early March. And we're just in need of a special education teacher in order to open it, but we already know that we can bring some students back into our schools. So we're hoping to do that. It's the best place for students we know. Obviously, there's some need that we have to outplace for whatever the child needs, but mostly we want to keep them in our schools. So we do have 2 students that right now that Dr. Hughes is looking at to bring them back in as soon as this program is fully staffed with a special education teacher. So we're hoping to have that this year. So bring that to your attention. And then the last thing, before I turn it over, is if I can have Matt, can we have that green up, Matt? So this is gonna be live probably tomorrow. It's the kindergarten entry age. This will be on our website live tomorrow, but this is just a look at it for now. So there's kindergarten entry age information letter. It's in various languages. And there's eligibility for this. Can you move this up? There's the OEC's webpage about the changing kindergarten entry age. So tomorrow, if you'd like to go play on this tomorrow, there's a lot of good information on here for parents with a PowerPoint. We'll be working on this by March 15th. If parents want to have a waiver for them to start, for students to start, they have to apply for it, and there's links for them to click on to get this going. So we're pretty excited about rolling this out tomorrow. And that concludes my report.
I just want to make one comment. I did get to, excuse me, attend the open house at Huntington. It was very informative, and the curriculum they had, it was wonderful. It was just wonderful.
Preschool, I'm really excited. Corey Beckwith's done such a nice job with it since she's new here. So we couldn't be more excited to have her and to see what else we can do with the pre-K. So we're still working on it.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, but John and I were also there. It was
Thank you for having the different languages up there that folks can click on. It's good. It's great, good stuff. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, well, we sort of skipped over my brief report. Okay, I've got a couple of good things, one sort of bad thing, and then just kind of turn it around and turn it into a good thing. This past Thursday, I went to Global Studies, Teachers Middle School, and saw the history. What exactly was that event called, Raina?
History.
History Day?
Just History Day,
Yeah, just
okay.
History Day.
And it was wonderful. There were sort of like the all city art festival where each student had done a presentation. They had studied, you know, I guess that part of it was they had to write a paper and then make a shadow box or whatever of whatever topic they were choosing. So some topic in history, some focused on a particular person or event. And it was very informative, very well done. I mean, we have some extremely talented children in our schools, so I'm very happy to report that. Also, upcoming will be next month. Just want to give people a heads up. On Wednesday, the 13th of March, will be the All City Music Festival, 6 to 7 p.m. here at Kelly. That's usually a very well-attended event. I want to give you a little bit more of a heads up on that, being as our BOE meeting is just the day before. Also, there are 2 more events in February. I believe on the 22nd, this Thursday coming, there's a Lunar New Year celebration here at Kelly at 5 p.m. So that's celebrating the Lunar New Year, the Chinese New Year, and other Southeast Asian cultures celebrate the Lunar New Year. And then on the 27th, also here at Kelly, there's a Celebrate Black History evening that starts at 5 o'clock, and that's in the auditorium. I'll probably stop in for a moment, but I have 2 other meetings I have to attend that night, so it'll be brief. Then there is something that happened at Uncas School I'll read a brief synopsis. This was a letter that was sent out by Principal Peter Camp. And it was on, let's see, discovered on Monday the 5th, I believe, of February.
Tuesday, February 6th.
Well, that's when the letter was sent out.
We sent it out that night.
Okay, that evening, okay. So Peter wrote, good evening, Uncas school community. I'm writing to inform you about a concerning incident that occurred today. A staff member reported graffiti spray painted on the exterior of our school building, which depicted an anti-Jewish symbol. Our custodial staff immediately responded to the incident and removed this hate symbol. As educators and members of this community, we're deeply troubled by this discovery. We want to assure you that we take incidents of hate and intolerance very seriously and are taking immediate steps to address the matter. I've been in contact with the Norwich Police Department, and they, along with our technology team, are analyzing surveillance footage to identify the individuals or individual responsible for the vandalism. Our priority is to create a safe and inclusive environment for all students and community members. We understand that the discovery may raise questions and concerns, especially for parents who may be unsure how to discuss such topics with their children. It is crucial that we come together as a community to educate and support one another in combating prejudice and fostering understanding. Then it goes on to list some resources, and you can always contact student service team members in the school. As far as I know, no students mentioned that they had seen these, well, let's call it what they were. They were swastikas. And when I was informed of it, my first reaction was horror, fear. And then thinking on it a while, I said, it's just paint. Paint can't hurt us. Paint can't hurt us any more than the beige paint in these halls, in prisons, in this institutional beige. What possibly can hurt is if the person or persons who put those symbols on the wall knew what they stood for and believed in them. That's where the real problem lies. But the problem is that that type of hate has to be taught. Hate, intolerance, that's a taught response. They could have just as easily followed our curriculum of choose love and put a smiley face or a heart or a peace symbol. Instead, they chose a different symbol. I mean, the symbol itself is hurtful. And the fact that it gets a reaction from people. The fact that a 90-year-old symbol invented by a crazed maniac in Austria who's been dead for 79 years can still hurt us. It's difficult, very difficult to deal with. But thank God it happened on a school building, because we can turn this around. We can teach about these symbols I know we need to protect our children from these things, but this is the world we live in, unfortunately, where these type of things are out there in the world. We have to educate our children as to what these symbols are. But there are other symbols that we can teach them. And it's much better and easier to teach about love and charity and compassion than hate and intolerance. And I believe that the fact that these symbols were not found on any other school, but on one of the most diverse schools in our district. The strength of the diverse community that will come together and share and build from if anyone is seeing these symbols. These are what's important. So please, choose love, choose charity and compassion. And let's stamp out intolerance and hate. Thank you. And now let's move on to the report of the acting assistant superintendent, Jamie.
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question for you in regard to History Day. I feel so sad that I missed that, but I wanted to quickly ask if any of our students will be participating in the in Connecticut's History Day's original context that's coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. No? Oh. Okay.
It was the original intent, but I think we lost funding at the beginning of the year, so it's quite expensive to participate in that.
What you just said, could you repeat that, please?
Money.
I'm sorry?
I couldn't hear what you
I think
just
that the original intent was to participate in History Day, both Kelly and Global. But it takes quite a bit of funding to do that. So I think we lost the funding at the beginning of the year and decided to take it on at Global. The theme was turning points in history.
Yeah. If you can share that.
Okay, I also know there's an essay contest that's sponsored each year by the CHRO Kids Corps. And I don't know if we participate in that at all, or not that we know of. Okay. All right, go ahead, Jamie.
Okay. I actually think that we may be participating in that CHRO initiative. When I put it forward to the social studies coordinator, proposing that that happened, they indicated that they were already participating in it. So I can find out more for next time.
Okay.
Okay. So you have the reports that were submitted, but I wanted to highlight a couple of things. Keeping on the theme of this Board of Ed meeting, where lots of celebrations and happy things happening. We submitted a Title III immigrant grant for $17,000 recently. That funding will continue to support professional development for our MLL department and beyond. I think today I experienced a professional development session facilitated by Luz Rivera, our MLL director, whereby lots of our teachers, not only in the MLL department, but also in student services and our instructional coaches, were able to benefit from, because as we know, strategies that we know are good for our students that speak other languages or are learning English are also strategies that can definitely benefit all of our students at the Tier 1 level and beyond. So taking those funds and having maximum impact with some of the professional development has been a great thing that Luz and her department have focused on, that will really benefit district-wide. Mr. Kulis already mentioned that we have a couple of great events coming up. The Chinese Lunar New Year celebration where there'll be some Chinese acrobats on February 22nd from 5 to 6. And that takes place this Thursday. And then we also have, as Mr. Coase mentioned, our African American contributions to the arts, which is happening next February 27th, also from 5 to 6. You'll see some celebrations in the arts where some dramatic performances, singing, some step dancing. So if you can make it out to that event, you're more than welcome to attend. I know that there was interest in adult ed and some of those opportunities for English speakers of other languages. This spring, 3 additional courses are going to be opened up, so we're continuing to expand those opportunities. And then I want to kind of update you on some curriculum department updates. I have to say the same thing, expressed by Mark Koulos, that our all-city music is returning, and it's been quite some time where we've had that, and it's been something that's been present for as long as I've been around in Norwich. So to see it come back, the enthusiasm from the department and from the schools is really incredible. For those of you that are new, that don't know what this is about, it's where students from all of our schools come together and practice and perform with each other across, in one location. So you'll hear chorus singing from different schools coming together, as well as the band. So I really want to thank the music department for making sure that we pushed forward this year to make it happen. We are really looking forward to having that return. Also, some of our students in the music department are participating in a regional performance that will be held at Ram High School this weekend. So a select group of students were chosen to join other regional musicians for a performance this weekend. That happens at 1:30.
I'm sorry, Jamie, so it's a regional and it's at where?
Ram.
At Ram High
Yep.
School?
Yep.
And when is it again?
At 1:30.
On
I
Saturday?
think it's Saturday, yes.
Thank you.
Sure. And then some other curriculum updates. Our department is gearing up for several revision cycles focusing on English language arts, math, science, social studies, and our unified arts. We have to move forward in each of those areas, and we think it's imperative to do it now. When we were talking as a department as to how to do that, we really want to ensure that our teaching staff could come and support the efforts. And so when we put out a survey to see who would want to participate in curriculum revision, we got 53 responses from our teaching staff to do this work, which is really incredible. And it's a testament to how our teaching staff feels about how important this work is. Along with our curriculum coordinator, we're establishing a renewed instructional framework. When you go onto our website, you'll see things currently that has the share out and the active learning and guided practice. We're getting ready to revamp that so that we can have a more clear instructional focus, and we really believe it's going to make the difference in how we spend our time in the classroom for those 45, 50 minutes with our teachers. We did present a draft to the Curriculum Council that was very well received, and we look forward to bringing that in front of you in the next few months. All Stars After School Tutoring, I mentioned that we're starting that. 165 students have signed up. There are some that are still on a wait list, but we're working to get them in, and also ensuring that there's an opportunity for them for the second session. So as I put forth, I think it was last month, our winter data for our assessments is getting prepared, and we'll be able to present that to you for March. That's all I have.
Question on the MLL reading results and math results. Are those is that winter data where the reading went from 28% to 38%, one grade level below? That's pretty good.
Yeah, the MLL department, those students have really taken hold of of the strategies that Luz and her department have kind of put forth. It's been remarkable since the department has shifted in their focus and how they deliver on their instructional modes. Kids are in the classrooms, and it's making a difference. It aligns with the research and evidence that we've known. So those inclusive opportunities are really making a difference. So I applaud that department every day. And the teachers, not just the department, because it does take all of us to make sure that happens and believe that all children can exceed, even those that aren't speaking the English language yet. So it's been really remarkable.
Yeah, our MLL is just rock stars. They're fabulous.
I know we were starting some kind of an advanced math. How is that going?
The algebra class?
Yes.
I think that, like every area, we have some work to do, but I know that Ashley and a few members of the math department met with NFA to try to streamline that process from middle school to high school. So I would expect that, over time we'd have some improvements.
But did we actually start a class of advanced algebra?
Advanced algebra? No, I think it's just algebra.
Okay, because I know where we have no space for all the kids that were eligible for it.
I won't know. I'd have to look into that.
Just curious how it's going. Do you know, I saw that it said the influx of more children. How many kids have we gained in the last, say, 2 months?
Are you talking about enrollment or are you talking about MLL?
Enrollment.
Let's look at the enrollment report and I'll tell you how many kids we've gotten since last
I think
month.
a lot of it was the added preschool slots
Pardon?
too. I think a lot of it was the added
Yeah,
preschool.
yeah.
Susan was looking at it this morning.
And if they were they MLL?
We do have a report for MLL that I just received. Luz, is that the most?
There's 839 currently. How much it increased from last year, or last month rather?
Yes, it has increased.
I actually have.
Said yes, it has increased, not a number yet.
839, correct?
It's right now it's 839.
From what though? I don't remember what we were.
Me either, Christine, so hold on a second. You have to go back to last month.
I have it right here.
Okay.
So if you go back to, are you just looking for the last couple of months?
Well, last 3 or 6 months.
So August, we had 739 MLLs with 52 being monitored. September, we went up to 775 with 49 being monitored. In October, it was 789 with 50 monitored. November, 799 with 50 monitored. December, 804 with 51 monitored. January, 816 with 51 monitored. February, we're up to 839 with 51 monitored.
So approximately 100 more since start of school.
Exactly 100 more.
Exactly.
That's why I thought the number was 739. That's original.
Question for information from someone who doesn't know. Monitored students means?
So it means that they no longer need direct support. And Luz, if I'm misspeaking, let me know, but they do get check-ins by the MLL teachers to make sure that they're moving along.
For 2 years.
For 2 years, yes, thank you.
What I thought.
Thank you.
And another quick question, Jamie, adult ed, they're back to full curriculum after the flooding?
Yeah, in his report, he talks about how they've had to do some shuffling around or where they were doing it or having alternative locations, that kind of thing, but we're back at it. It's the data adjustments.
Since you brought it up, I can add a little bit of color to that. The flood caused damage to the lower level of the adult ed building, and the lower level has asbestos tiling in it. So that's caused the floor to buckle, and as a result, we have to eliminate the asbestos before that level can be used again. So it's basically sealed off. The estimate to remove the asbestos is about $51,000. Replacing the floor came in at about another $23,000. We know there'd be other incidental costs associated with restoring that floor back to a usable condition. So for a ballpark, use $100,000. The asbestos isn't covered by insurance, and we have a $50,000 deductible. So the impact on adult ed is the staff that was using that space had been crammed up in the upper level. They've now moved over to the former special services building, which was vacant. We could turn that building over to the city right now if they didn't need to use that space. So we have to have a meeting to see where they might be able to locate. It probably wouldn't be feasible to have adult ed staff be across town or somewhere, so that's a problem. We also have to meet with the city to come up with a joint resolution to dealing with the asbestos. We don't have $100,000 to spend on making the building whole, so we have to figure that out.
So, the classrooms, what were we talking
They
about?
weren't used any classrooms downstairs. It was mostly for staff and some testing.
Okay,
So the classroom space is intact in the upper two levels. Its impact is on staff right now.
so they can use the other
They're using the
building
building
as
next
staff
door, but that's-
offices then?
But that's preventing us from turning the building back to the city.
Right, because now you've got to heat it and everything too.
Yeah, because we don't have a use for it for any other reason now except for that.
Right. Well, thank God we had that space.
Yeah.
Christine, back to your enrollment question. So currently we have 3,312. In September, we had 3,205.
Can you repeat that second number, please,
Yeah.
Jane?
3,205 in September.
That's total students.
It's on board docs too, Christina.
Yeah, I'll read that over.
That's pre-K through 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not a count of our, high school students.
No. Just in district.
Thank you, Jamie.
Sure. It's on the last page of the enrollment report. It has like the running list for
I'll
everyone.
reread it all. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, the report of the Director of Student Services, Lisa is unfortunately attending to some family matters today. You do have her report. You can read those over. If there's any questions, direct them to Susan, I suppose.
Yes.
Or get a list of questions together and address Lisa for next month.
One thing I'd like to highlight on her report is save the date, please, because one of the greatest fairs we have is coming up April 25th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Huntington Elementary School. It's our 7th annual Autism Wellness Fair.
Last year I heard there was a unicorn there.
There was.
Wow. That's gonna be here.
It's at Huntington School.
Huntington, you said that, sorry.
It's okay, that's.
And correct me if I'm wrong, usually in May or June, there's some sort of wellness thing up at Dodge Stadium.
I'm not sure of that.
Yes.
I know there is, I don't know the date.
That's community-wide.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we participate in that at all, or I know probably UHFS does, but we don't specifically. Okay, so that brings us to man of the hour. Business administrator.
Thank you, Mark. I'll continue with an update on our other vacant building, 90 Town Street. The board has an action item on that later on this evening, but after this brief discussion, I think this will make your actually very easy to proceed with. 90 Town Street was the former central office building, across from McDonald's and I guess I'll call it the town green there. It's vacant, but it does house the network servers. So CEN is scheduled to move them on July 5th. It needs to be completed by July 8th because that's the start of our ESY summer program. After that, the district no longer has a need for the building. We had about 2 days worth of work to remove the few incidentals that are there. So the action item is for the board to approve turning the building back over to the city. My understanding is there are interested parties who wish to pursue purchasing the building. We've given a preliminary tour a while ago to the building. So in order for the city to proceed with the proper steps within their town ordinances, they need the board to take action to officially say we no longer need the building. So if you have any questions on Town Street, I'd be glad to take them.
All right, besides the servers, all the furniture, files, everything's gone?
There's a refrigerator in the basement that needs to be relocated. A couple old desks need to go to the transfer station. They're no longer useful. So with the weather the way it is, we don't want to risk injury moving them out now. So it takes about 2 days to get all that stuff out.
Okay. But that will happen in the summer, July.
We can't move the servers. It has to be done by CEN, who hosts our network.
Right. And I believe they're upgrading our network too at the same time. And where are those servers being moved to?
To Kelly, because Kelly's not going anywhere.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, no questions?
No questions on that.
All right, we'll move on to the 24-25 budget. Football season is officially over now with the conclusion of the Super Bowl, and in Hartford, we've started the budget season. Session started February 7th, and it's known as the short session, and will be ending, I believe, on May 11th. As you all might know, Connecticut has a 2-year budget process, and last year was the first year. This is the second year. So the second year is a year for adjustments only. There's no big, real new money coming into the budget. So everyone was waiting to see what the governor would do. There were 2 main items in the budget that would have serious financial impact to the Norwich Public School District. One would be a magnet school tuition bill that had been passed last year, and the other was the speeding up or hastening of the ECS fully funding formula. So regarding magnet school tuition, the legislative body last year passed into law that the magnet schools could only bill towns and cities, school districts at 58% of the current year's tuition, and the state was going to pick up the rest. So for Norwich, next year's budget, that's a $375,000 impact. So that's a big number. We did our first budget subcommittee. We built in the tuition at 58% because we're taking the state at their word. So the governor, when he released his budget, he put in a bill called House Bill 5050. That bill eliminates the cap on magnet school tuitions in MOAG programs. So if that stays as is, we'll have to be adding another $375,000 back into our budget. Now, public hearings are going on at the Capitol right now. The Education Committee and the Appropriations Committee, which are both chaired by Democrats, I believe it's Curry and Corey on the Education Committee. Our own state senator is the co-chair of the Appropriations Committee. They are all dead set against that. The governor wishes to divert the money into another worthwhile cause, early child care and daycare. The legislative body supports that, but not at the expense of K-12 education. So that's going to be a big battle, and I have some optimism that we won't lose that $375,000 because that would be hurtful. The other big item was the ECS formula. We were supposed to go up by about $3.2 million. The governor did honor the ECS formula as it was passed in the enacted budget from last year. But much to our surprise, our ECS grant is going up by 3.8 million almost. So it's actually increasing by $501,562. So that's really good news. It's not because the governor is benevolent or loves Norwich. It's strictly formula driven. Enrollment, it plays a big part in it, as does community wealth and one other factor. So the increase to the Alliance grant of $3,788,479 is really big for us because that equates to 4.23% of our current year's budget. So I don't think the legislative body is going to move to change that. So I'm hopeful that that would remain. So those are the two big things affecting the 24-25 budget. Through our subcommittee meetings, we've had two of them. We've covered tuitions, transportation, fuel, facilities, and technology. Two of the big takeaways from those meetings are special education costs continue to increase. And you've heard me speak about this countless times, the impact of the excess cost grant reimbursement. That's a big factor, and we'll have to come to a final conclusion as to what's the appropriate rate to budget at, because the law is the law, but then what we get is another thing. So we'll be talking about that more. So that's where we stand on the 24-25 budget. You can follow along in the news, and CCM's website gives constant updates on the hearings and where they might be leaning. So we haven't seen anything yet from the Appropriations Committee or the Democrat side or the Republican side as far as what their budget recommendations would be. That should be coming fairly soon, March, April.
Okay, and in communication between Bob and myself, we agreed that he needs another Zoom meeting because there's a lot of material to cover.
It's very impactful.
Very impactful because of all these changes. So so February 22nd, this Thursday will be, you're covering salaries, benefits.
Yes, that's what the
And
grant
he's asked for March 7th. So we'll do one additional Zoom on March 7th, 2 weeks beyond the 22nd. And he'll cover the odds and ends and do a complete overview of the new budget and hopefully come up with an idea of where we're going to stand for this year's budget.
The one thing that is helpful with the legislative session being a short session is it's on May 11th. So we will know where we stand. If you recall last year, the city budget process, I believe they have to adopt a budget by either the first or second Monday by midnight.
Right.
So in June. So we will know almost a month before we have to make a final budget determination with this through the city. So we'll know, there'll be no surprises like there were last year.
Yeah, and the chances of a special session are very slim because this is an election year. So they like to be out knocking doors, campaigning instead of in the legislature arguing over dollars and cents.
So any questions on 24-25, where we stand on the legislative process? Okay, I'll give you a brief update on 23-24. Excess cost reimbursement is now known, and the district is facing a serious shortfall, as are all communities. The state's intention for this year was to fully fund the reimbursement level. They added $25 million to this year's budget, and they're adding $25 million to next year's budget. But a combination of whoever did the math and the continued increase in special education costs have far outreached and outpaced the amount of money that's available. So with the uncapped entitlement, Norwich is entitled to receive $2,964,015 for our excess cost grant reimbursement. With the capped entitlement, we're getting $2.1 million. a shortfall of $804,557. That's very painful. Even if the state honored the 91% tiered rate that Norwich is supposed to get, that still results in a $537,000 shortfall. So that is very impactful to us on the bottom line this year. Susan, Jamie, Lisa, and myself had conversations with Senator Austin and Darrell Wilson. We've sent them the documentation on how impactful that is. It impacts all cities across the state. Hartford, I believe, was faced with a $3 million shortfall. I'm not super optimistic that the legislative body might do something, but maybe because enough towns are suffering in such large numbers, maybe something will come of this. So that's where we stand on that level.
And Bob, also Senator Austin and Representative Wilson have been in constant talks with us as they're going through this session, and we're sending them information as they need it. So
if you look at our own budget, versus what we're supposed to get and the other unfunded mandate, the paying for education to the students' 22nd birthday to the end of the school year as to their birthday added $450,000 to our budget that wasn't anticipated, and an $800,000 shortfall on the reimbursement. That's $1.2 million in the hole right there. So that's very painful.
Yeah, we only have 1.4 left in the contingency fund.
And that's assuming everything else came in even, and that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
So moving on to our tuition, which includes all of these special ed, it includes the impact of the excess cost shortfall. Right now, it's looking that we're gonna be $1.5 million over budget. That's a combination of 1.2 million is the excess cost and the over 22 legislation. We move on to special ed contracted services. They're $461,000 over budget, and transportation will continue to be a problem. There are some areas that will be helpful, but we won't know until we get through the heating season. We'll probably save $200,000 to $300,000 in the heating budget. Natural gas prices dropped by 40% starting in November, and it's been a mild winter, so we're tracking right now, if nothing changes, to save about $250,000. The district uses about 50% of its natural gas between January, February, and March. So once we get through March, we'll have a pretty good idea of where we stand.
Well, luckily next week it's supposed to be in the 50s.
Yeah, and
so
a lot of our buildings being old, and Susan and Jamie and Amber know this well, because we're in Bishop, we have 2 temperatures on and off. And depending on where you are in the building, if you're closer to the boiler, you'll have your windows open. Susan's office has a tree, so in the fall she gets a little cooler than my office. I have windows open.
Why wasn't that corrected when the reno was done? I mean, I don't understand why they didn't upgrade the entire thing.
When what was done?
When the renovation was done, at Bishop.
Oh, that must have been done long before me.
Yeah, oh, it was,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
It's one boiler that is like old, and the control, sometimes you can't fix the controls in 100-year-old, it's 100 years old building.
Oh, I know, I went there. I'm getting there.
I mean, the building was built when oil was 29 cents a gallon, or less.
It must have all the windows.
So I would just like to point out and refresh everyone's memory, last year we were in deficit and had to use $1.9 million of the non-lapsing fund to cover special education costs, and this going down that same road again, and we won't have enough. So by law, at some point, the Board of Ed will have to ask the City Council for an appropriation, but it's too soon.
So we're going to have to show up in our sackcloths with our hands out.
Yeah, well, it's interesting the way the law is written. By statute, the board cannot exceed the appropriation, and a city's fiscal authority has the ability to control costs. With that said, however, the Board of Education has a duty to educate students in compliance with federal and state law. And the 2 areas that we're going to be over in budget significantly that are driving the deficit are special education costs and tuition, and those are specifically covered by state statute. So if you were in deficit because the board was spending willy-nilly on programs, then it might not be successful with an appropriation. And the board has acted with diligence in terms of enacting a budget freeze in December and examining every position before you hire. So I think the board's done everything that they possibly can along with the cabinet level people.
But given for the following year, the huge increase in ECS funding, we should be okay?
Well, that's an interesting proposal. Again, Jamie, Susan, and myself and Lisa have had conversation with our legislative body, with Senator Austin and Durrell specifically. Yes, we're getting a 4.23% increase. It usually was funneled through the ECS Alliance portion, but the Alliance portion grant has rules and you can't supplant. So I would love nothing better to do than take transportation, take core Board of Ed expenses and program with Jamie and Susan, what are we putting into the Alliance grant, but that's supplanting. So our legislative representatives talked about a blue ribbon panel and working with the state. The last 2 years, our Alliance grant was approved in November. That doesn't do us any good when we're doing the budget now. So I know Susan's been doing what she can to see, and Jamie as well, to see if that grant can be, we need to know in April or May what we can use the money for. Otherwise, it's going to be that circuitous conversation from the city's part, and I fully understand that, saying, you know, we're easily going to need 8 or 9%, and if they look at that, you've got 4.23 here, we'll give you 4, that's 8, but if we can't use that 4.3 for core expenses, I mean, it's a flaw in the legislation.
So they're giving us more money, but here's a huge set of handcuffs too.
And that's how it's been. So I know Jamie and Susan are going through the Alliance grant now with its existing funding, what positions stay and how we use that. We have things like the SRO officers to deal with and other, where do these things go that have been pushed off to the side. There were strategic decisions that were made. So if you have any questions on that, if not, I'll conclude.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, any other questions for Bob or on any of the subordinate reports which we have, transportation facilities? So the plan is right now to use the other building at Adult Ed.
That
makes it more
just had this
cost.
communication within the last week.
That makes it more cost effective.
They're right side by side.
Right. Instead of spending the $100,000 in a building that will
We're already
probably
in
gonna
deficit,
abandon
so
in
we
a
don't
couple
want to
of
use
years
non-lapsing
anyway.
funds, but we want to be a good partner with the city and not turn over a defective building with them. So I've been speaking with Josh at the city, and he needs to figure out on his end who needs to meet with people on our end to see what the plan is for the benefit of the city and the board together.
Yeah, I've dealt with asbestos flooring before. It's not good because it's all steel black tar put down.
Yeah.
It's very
And
difficult.
once
to
we knew
remove
once
that.
tiles were wet like that, and when it dried, they were gonna pop, and when they pop, they crack, and then you can't be exposed to it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on. Unfinished business, 6.1, approval of the 2024-25 school calendar. So we have the draft calendar. If you click on it, that will magically appear on your screen. This year, we're going to start before Labor Day. The proposal is a couple of days before Labor Day, the 29th of August, with an end date of June 10th. And I believe we have coordinating many of our PD days with NFA now?
That's correct.
So the buses will be operating more or less on the same schedules. So we're getting better coordination as far as that goes. And we don't have to worry about, through the registrar's office of using our schools as voting locations, since they removed all of our schools as voting locations. Any comments, questions on the calendar?
Excuse me.
And I believe this is for a second read, so we'll entertain a motion for approval of the school calendar.
Heather Fowler, I make a motion to approve the 2024-2025 school calendar.
Mrs. Ella, I'll second.
Okay. Any comments, revisions? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. School calendar passes as proposed. Next item, discussion and possible action regarding the 90 Town Street property. So I'll entertain a motion that we, I believe, just turn over the property August 1st. Before.
Yeah,
I
the
got it.
motion's in there.
I make a motion for the board to approve the release of the 90 Town Street property to the city of Norwich effective August 1st, 2024, contingent upon the scheduled removal of the district's IT server equipment. Kevin Satani, I will second that motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Let's do it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So passed. And then we have first reads on, turn it over to policy chair for this.
I guess I'll just jump in and just cover up what I'll say in the board reports anyway. February 15th, the committee, we met together to discuss policies from Shipman and Goodwin. Many of them are listed here on our agenda for tonight as first read. You can go ahead and review all of them. There's just been like some changes, like in the computer system of electronic communication for both NPS staff and students. And yeah, so just read over them, and if you have any questions, we'll bring them for the next board and vote on them.
Thank you, Kevin.
Welcome.
Some are relatively minor, some like the use of devices. I think we removed mimeograph machines and substituted AI in there. So AI is going to be the wave of the future. Or it's here now and it'll bypass us before we know it.
Is TikTok in that, covered in that policy? It is, Greg? Good. Just that I need to read that. Very good.
Specifically mentioned, and it's also all used to say, including TikTok and others, so it can go beyond.
Okay, and there were no policies to approve for tonight, right? No second reads?
No, all first read.
Okay. So we've already talked the budget expenditure. We have the two meetings, the Zooms on February 22nd and now March 7th. If Amber could schedule the one for March 7th to send out a notice. board members and to the interested council members. City Council Board of Ed, the ad hoc, that will meet after we approve our budget, which would be probably in the March meeting, the March 12th meeting, will be approving our budget. Negotiations Committee, chair of that, nothing happening on that. No groups have gotten together for a new negotiation. Policy Committee, I guess we just had the update from Kevin. School building. Do you want to cover that, Christine, or?
It's about, we haven't had a meeting. We have our meeting next week. It got pushed up because of the holidays. And the
last
meeting was just a presentation. Didn't we already talk about this one though? A presentation regarding hiring, using, what do you term that? It's like
the PLA, yes.
PLA.
The project
regarding
labor agreement.
Right, the labor that we hire for it. But we're not even gonna have, then they said the city council be the ones deciding anyways, which I was a little surprised about that, but. So I was like, why did we do it? Why did we have?
Yeah, I don't know why they were presenting to us,
That's what I
we
mean.
were
Why
the
did we
decision
have-
makers, yeah.
And just to add to that, we're not part of the building committee, but Susan, myself, and whoever else is required, we have what's known as a working group meeting every Thursday. And we're doing design of classrooms, kitchens, facilities, heating systems, and things like that. So there's work being done by the school district that's connected to the building project, but outside of the building committee itself.
Yeah.
Right. What time does that meet usually?
Thursdays, 4 to 5.
4 to 5?
And they're done by Zoom.
The contractors are being very good with their communications with this working group. And, you know, they're definitely staying on top of that. It appears to us when they tell us that.
Yeah, we had a special meeting with their kitchen design people, and I was very impressed with their consultant from Boston. Him and Nazim talked their own language, they knew what they were doing.
In our last meeting, we talked about UCFS and their space and the nurses' space, and we made sure Lord Dietrich was on that, the UCFS person, so that they could give feedback on that space.
All right. I'll have to talk to Mike Fessians and get on that. Let's see. Board reports, IDCS.
So IDCS has a board meeting tomorrow, but it's a busy time of year, so there's a lot of stuff that has happened since the last meeting over a month ago. The 2023 audit of the IDCS finances was completed and was shared at that meeting. On January 29th, 3 state senators, Senator McCrory, Ryan, and Curry, visited and toured the school. They were led around by students. More recently, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, IDCS celebrated Kindness Day. Each classroom planned and did their own activities related to friendship and kindness. There's going to be a volleyball team this spring for the first time at IDCS. 25 students have tried out, and that'll be getting started soon. Also in sports, the staff versus student basketball game is on March 7th at 5:30. That is being used as a memorial fundraiser for Malaya Johnson, and there's a $1 donation to attend. March 11th, that week is student-led conferences and also the book fair. March 12th, there will be a budget workshop, which is a public meeting at IDCS at 6 o'clock, discussing the upcoming year's budget. And last but not least, the calendar for the school year has been shared with teachers, or will be shared with teachers at the next staff meeting, and expectation of board approval at the March meeting. Currently, the last day of school for this year is June 18th, and there's no plan to change that, even though they have a day in May and also April break that they could tweak
to make the school year end earlier if necessary. But as of now, they're gonna end on June 18th.
Right, I know, they communicate with, our office regarding the calendar, right?
Yeah.
Because of the busing. I
They're trying to sync it up as much as possible.
As much as
whenever
possible,
Yeah.
exactly. So I remember that coming in before. Oh, question, volleyball. Are there other schools to compete against that have started having volleyball?
There are a few schools to compete against that do have volleyball.
That's great.
We tried to get that going last year and it never was able to materialize. We didn't have someone to coach it. I was hoping I could and I couldn't.
Okay, NFA liaison, I attended the end of January. That was at NFA. They presented their budget, gave us their figures. And I believe Dr. Kesnell and his representatives will be here in the March meeting. Is that correct, Susan?
Yes. March meeting.
Okay, so he'll basically be giving the overview of what's happening at NFA. Their tuition's gone up, although Norwich, our enrollment is fairly steady at NFA. Some of the other sunding towns, I know Basra, Lisbon, their numbers were going down. So even with the increase, their overall budget was not going to increase because they had less students going. But that affects their bottom line because they have less students attending. So they need to increase tuition, and I know there was a revamping of their special ed programs. They went from 6 or 7 programs down to 4, and then they added an additional, possibly fifth program. So
We will review all that.
right, and
When it comes in
then
March.
yeah,
Did the deduction per Norwich student change at all?
it's still 200.
Still 200. Now, I remember the police chief had said something about addressing the issue of what Norwich provides for them and to help us out in some way. But I guess none of that's been done.
Right, but yeah, that'll be covered because we're going to be renegotiating our master contract with them.
Next year, right?
Well, it's coming up, so we've already sent them notice that we intend to enter into negotiations. But they prefer to go, as a master contract dealing with all the towns at once, as opposed to 9 different negotiations. Otis Library, any?
Couple things. The library's been working with Libraries Without Borders, which is a worldwide organization. They came in, did an assessment, and took a look at services being rendered. A couple things are happening. The Otis Library is becoming more inclusive. I don't want to say community center because that's a live topic around here, but more accessible to people than just a library. So the website's being totally revamped, where there'll be resources for education, for health, citizenship, veterans activities, etc. So there'll be a lot more for people. There's a monthly calendar posted every month of a lot of activities, and the library staff is more than willing and has worked with all of our elementary schools as well. So that relationship will continue, just be a little bit more inclusive in things that they're offering.
And I believe you do passport renewals there too?
Passport renewals.
Okay.
All right, so I attended the Learn meeting on February 8th. They also had a presentation on the yearly audit from last year's budget from the legal firm CLA. The plan that will be voted on in March for increasing educator diversity was presented and discussed. The business office talked about how there's been an expansion of services to many of the districts that they serve, many districts that are in need and they're supporting in various ways. It is currently lottery season at the magnet schools that Learn runs. That goes until March 30th. Learn and Goodwin School, magnet school. So Goodwin was a kind of run by Learn, but now they're officially separating as of this June. And they've just finalized all employees of Goodwin School are now Goodwin School employees and not Learn employees. And there was a bunch of stuff that had to be done to make that happen. And finally, we discussed the governor's budget and this legislative plan, similar to what Mr. Sierpinski was talking about earlier. Really focused on the ECS and magnet school tuition as the two main things that we talked about and how that would impact the Learn program and Learn schools. And right to read was also a part of that conversation as well.
Okay. The NPSEF report, briefly, we're undergoing the grant cycle. I'm not sure if those have been granted yet. Very shortly, we'll announce or approve those. I forgot how many, if it was 6 or 8, various grants going to classrooms in Norwich schools. So those are always a help. And anyone who wants to join the foundation, we meet the first Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. at the Sick Art Gallery. We welcome anyone from the community, teachers, anybody on the board can join. So that's great. There are additional reports in your supplemental materials, Bob's budget report, the enrollment report, and the personnel report. Is there any particular needs in personnel we need to cover?
We do have some vacancies. We have, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
TESOL teacher at Global, math teacher at Global, music teacher at Kelly, grade 5 teacher at Huntington, PE health at Global, library teacher at Stanton, grade 5 teacher at Uncas, grade 2 teacher at Veterans, 0.5 art teacher at Betts, and 0.5 art teacher at Book 1. We have long-term floor subs in there for now.
Okay, and I will entertain a motion to go into executive session. John.
Pursuant to Connecticut General Statute 1-200, members of the Board of Education move to go into executive session for discussion of the employment and performance of Acting Superintendent Susan Lassard. The board may ask Acting Superintendent Susan Lassard to participate in some or all of the executive session discussion.
Could I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. It is unanimous. We are now in executive session. We could go all night.
You got 4 minutes to ask all of your questions.
I don't want to be shoving a cookie in my face on camera.
Those cookies are really good.
Yeah, they are. All of that was.
They finally got the burning problem solved. They didn't have the ovens adjusted the first couple of months, every batch came out burnt.
7:50.
Okay, it's 7:55. We are now out of executive session. No votes were taken during executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion. I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you. I have to text Amber.
So